All right, guys, we're back here on Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel, SEC Basketball Prime Time Reaction. If you missed it earlier, we shared our reaction to pretty much all the other games of the day, minus the one that just went final at Neville Arena. Auburn 75, Kentucky 74. We'll talk a few minutes about Alabama's 90-83 road win at LSU, and Texas A&M also gets a much-needed road win, 75-71 at Oklahoma. Max. But we are going to start with the Cats and the Tigers. A little discussion going on in the chat about a certain call late in the game. We'll touch on that. But no matter how you slice it here, Auburn snaps the losing streak. It was at 5. We said this felt like a game that Auburn had to win if you wanted to probably project them into the NCAA tournament field. And, well, it was a very wild sequence, as seemingly is always the case in these scenarios, and Auburn won it. So,
what a thriller! What a thriller! I could not get a read on who I thought was going to win this game. Right when you thought one team is going to take a 4-6 point lead and take control of the game, then a timeout by the coach or a turnover or something swings just a smidge of momentum back in the other direction, and then you pick up a foul, you slow the game down, get to the free throw line. Both teams, I thought, gutsy game there by both teams down the stretch there. KeShawn Murphy, that might have been the best Murph game I've seen. It might have been the best Murph game I've seen. It just confident, taking it strong to the rim offensively, lining up a top of the key dart, knocking them down when you need them. Don't leave me open, says Murph. I'll knock it down. Some uncharacteristic second half turnovers by Chandler. He's been a rock lock reliable player for the Cats here over the past few weeks. Honestly, more than the past few weeks. He goes 1 of 6 from 3. The outside shot isn't falling. I thought Auburn defensively, Blake, did a great job on the catch, pushing Kentucky shooters out. Kentucky only shoots 26% from 3. And, man, 5 turnovers, and it felt like almost all of them for Chandler there were in that second half. But you got to credit the Auburn defense here, Blake. Got to credit the Auburn defense stepping up when Stephen Pearl needed a win bad.
Yeah, no doubt. And as you can tell, Max, I am losing my voice. No surprise. One of us kind of lose our voice every couple of weeks here. So I'm going to do my best. But, yeah, so I think the KeShawn Murphy effect here, like, that was something. I think the guys stepping out, knocking down the 3 there down the stretch. And, yeah, like, that's just the kind of game that, remember, we're talking about him going into the season, and it's kind of just one of those where, like, we're like, what's the impact he's going to make on this team? We knew he had to be kind of a big part of this rotation, and we're thinking, okay, you're looking at bringing Tahad Pettiford back. We know what they're going to get in Hall, but we were kind of looking at this guy and saying, hey, he's kind of got to be your third best player if you want to angle it that way. And we talked about the experience that he had. And all that. And so I just think, yeah, like that was kind of something where a big game like this, your season's pretty much on the line, and he made a lot of big plays. There's no question about it. I will also, and you can go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments, folks. Many of you already are. I will agree with the announce team who said, you're going to see that play made a lot when it comes to, throughout the game. And, well, that's just how I got called in that particular scenario, right? So, again, that is just something that is certainly out of your control, and they made the call. And, yeah, I understand why some people are going to be a little pissed off at that. There's a lot of angles to this game. And I think, remember, we're talking about the Auburn where it's like you finally feel like you can exhale a little bit after finally winning a game. But now, all of a sudden, we're talking about a Kentucky team that's lost 3 in a row. And so, here we are now. And I know it's like, well, you feel like you should have won that game. you didn't feel like you played that bad at Florida. You lost by 9, but now it's like you combine this week where you lose at home to Georgia and now lose at Auburn. And all of a sudden, what were they? What were we talking about, like with the seeding? What was our range for them as of this week? 6? 7?
For who?
For Kentucky.
For Kentucky, it was like
6, 7? 6, 7?
Yeah, we both, I think we agree. I think I went a little higher. But of course we were too optimistic. Now it's probably going to look more towards that 7-8 range. Because they were the last 6 on Torvik, the final 6, or not on Torvik, the final 6 on Matrix before the game. So
it'd be a 7 probably, right?
You're now gonna be a 7, kicked out of that 6 line, I think.
Yeah, I'd say they're probably in the middle of that 7 group, maybe coming out of this game. And I mean, that's the thing, right? If that's the range you're going to wind up being in, I feel like getting a 7 is more important than dropping to that 8-9, especially this year, maybe with just kind of where things are at, even though the 2 seeds are pretty stacked. But so I think I'm going to be curious to see what happens there in terms of the seeding, and people. Look, we're going to talk about this game, but I mean, what else do we say? Like, this was such a game so focused on the NCAA tournament effect for both teams, I feel like. Like, that's the big story here, is now seeing how it kind of plays out, knowing that. And I think that's where, like, for Auburn, we kept saying the thing about Auburn was that everybody could look at it and say, well, they were 14-12 and 5-8 in the SEC. What in the world are they doing there? Again, I don't think this is very complicated if you actually put the research into it. Like, Auburn's there because they have the number 1 strength of schedule, but we said they had to start winning games. And when you lose 5 in a row and you suffer your first bad loss of the season, you have to be able to bounce back from that, knowing that this is kind of one of your best. I mean, this was one of only really 2, Max, I guess, good available wins left for them if you look at their remaining schedule, right? Because they're at Oklahoma on Tuesday, home against Ole Miss, home against LSU. I don't think any of those 3 wins are really doing anything for you. And then you're at Alabama. If you win that one, sure. But this is why, like, if somebody was saying, well, why are people being so dramatic about this? It's like Auburn's season's on the line. It felt like it was because, if you lose this game, then all of a sudden, I mean, you're legitimately talking about probably like a must-win scenario at Alabama on March 7th. And who wants to be sitting there doing that? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anytime the head coach comes out before a game and dubs it must-win, it's must win. I mean, you lose this game if you're Auburn. And, I mean, before the game, Torvik gives you a 63% chance at an at-large bid. You lose this game, you're probably at 45. I mean, under 50% for getting an at-large bid. A team that was in the Final Four last year. So quite literally a season-changing, and honestly, potentially for Stephen Pearl. I mean, you go in, you take Auburn over in your first year and miss the tournament. Going into year 2, I mean, that's much different than if you make it as an 8-9 seed. Not too big of it. Might only be a 1 or 2 game regular season difference, but huge difference going into year 2 here. Huge. I cannot overstate how big of a win this was for Auburn. Like you said, unless you grab that Alabama road game, you're going to have to beat Oklahoma, Ole Miss, or LSU by 20 to really improve your analytics, improve your resume. So, I mean, quite literally a season saver here for Auburn.
Yeah, it was. There's no question about it. And yeah, I just think, and there were some things that I thought coming out of this game. I know a lot of people already has been discussed about the call and everything, but I thought the game management was going to be an interesting kind of topic here down the stretch, just because, I thought there's probably, I mean, what was it, the Garrison tip that didn't go in? Like, that's not a game management thing, but I'm thinking about like sequences. There was one for Auburn that I thought you wound up getting it, what was it, late in the shot clock. I think you got it over to Murphy in the corner, and just kind of like everybody's just sort of standing around. And I'm like, oh, somebody's got to do something here, because now it's like one-on-one for 8 seconds. And I'm like, I don't think this is the best thing. And, of course, it wound up working out. But, that's just kind of how it goes. And, so, and that's the thing, man. That last play, I'm watching the inbounds pass on the last play, and I'm like, this is deja vu.
I know.
He's there. Like, Moreno is there. I'm like, how is this going to happen again? Dude, I'm watching this, and I'm thinking, this is about to happen again. And, obviously the ball just kind of tips off his hands, and it doesn't happen. But I was just thinking, is this really going to play out like this again? If he'd have caught the ball and made the shot, Max, I don't even need to see a bracket. I got him in the Elite Eight at least. I mean, given that kind of bounce going that way. I mean, come on. So, wow. So,
yeah, and I know our chat is up in arms about a certain call. One call did not change this game. If it's from a Cats perspective, you can't turn the ball over that much in the second half on the road and expect to win. You can't have that many defensive breakdowns on switches. There was a lot of things that went into that. The amount of bunnies missed. I mean, you mentioned the Garrison tip, but there was a lot of transition layups that were missed by like Aberdeen, Oweh, just in and out. You don't turn the ball over.
They missed at Florida. Didn't somebody bring up that stat at Florida? They missed they've missed a lot of layups in these past several games.
Thing about Moreno, we love Moreno here. We have been giving him his praise, but he is a bit inefficient around the rim. But I am not putting all this on just one call. I thought there was a lot that Auburn did there in that second half defensively to frustrate Kentucky and get them out of their rhythm. I mean, that was, how many times did the broadcast say, man, this is the most flustered I've ever seen Colin Chandler. He's usually the steady hand here.
Yeah, they did say that.
So, yeah.
Yeah, they were, like you said, sort of Mr. Reliable. But,
right.
Again, they're also not in the spot without him in terms of winning some games that they've won over the past month and a half. So, yeah, I mean, it's, again, you would have liked to hit another 3 or 2. Didn't have his best shooting performance. And if you think about it, that guy's been absolutely just almost feels like automatic over the past, 5 games or so. And only goes 1 of 6 in this particular game from 3. So that didn't help there. So, all right. Like we said, I think this is one where coming out of it, I'm curious to see what Auburn does from here, just because I think you can't have such thing as like an exhale game where it's just like, okay, like you're spiraling. Does this help them kind of reset a little bit? We talked about, everybody was on us about, well, they finally fixed the defense. Well, they did not fix the defense, because the last 4 games they gave up a ton of points. But now it's like, all right, can you at least get back to the middle on that, where you go from like one extreme during the 4-game winning streak to then the other extreme, on the 5-game losing streak. So can they get back somewhere in the middle? I think will be important, just to kind of see where they're slotted. I mean, they're probably going to be an underdog in the NCAA tournament, given what their projected seed's going to be. But, it's still an interesting team to keep an eye on. And then obviously for Kentucky, I think, it is something with Kentucky where it's going to be, they go to South Carolina on Tuesday, and that is like the no-win spot. Like you can't win no matter what happens there. It's just like you win the game, great, but it doesn't do anything for you. But you're the team who has everything to lose going in and playing this game in Columbia. South Carolina coming off of an upset win over Mississippi State. So you don't want to play around. That's the kind of one that is going to, be one to watch, I think. And then, of course, they host Vanderbilt, trying to get some revenge next Saturday. Kentucky's final stretch of the season here. Beyond that, at A&M, home against Florida. So plenty of opportunity still, I think, for the Cats to get into that 6 type range, something like that. But I think more likely it seems like, depending on how this plays out, if you get a home win against Florida, I think you're certainly a 6. But, you were to drop one here, you're not supposed to. Maybe you don't want to slide down to that 8. I think it's important to stay at at that 7 range for Kentucky. So
yeah, I'll be interested to hear Pope in his post game and maybe more so his Tuesday preview for South Carolina. You know, we've seen coaches after these Saturday games have kind of unique takes on how to get ready for that next midweek game. We saw Dennis Gates say that he gave his team the Sunday off, Monday off, Tuesday off, and just said, all right, come back refreshed, and kind of different mental things to help the guys reset here. I think what was the exact quote from Dennis Gates? Oh, it was so good after they lost to Texas. I think it was like, when things are going good, they're never actually that good. And when things are going bad, they're never actually that bad. It was something along those lines, just trying to this is a long season. We're still in it. Let's settle in here. Bad night tonight. We got to bounce back. And then he gave them that Monday, Tuesday off, I'm pretty sure. And then Missouri comes out and grabs a massive win over Vanderbilt. So for Kentucky, not ideal. You go 0-3 and at Florida, at Auburn, tough games, and you lost the home game against Georgia. Okay, not ideal. Probably have cost a seed line of resume in March, but still can finish the regular season out strong here. And I don't think the sky is falling, is what I'm trying to say.
That's the thing. If you just win the home game against Georgia, this is just kind of it's a wash.
Yep.
You're like, all right, lost the game on the road in the SEC, but the fact is you were a favorite against a team that was really struggling, and you lose that home game, and now, yes, everybody will be on the call for a few minutes, but that's going to eventually go to, well, we've lost 3 in a row now, and how are we going to fix it? That's what this discussion is going to turn into beyond just the initial foul call. It's going to turn into that, and so, I don't want to say we're back where we started because this team's come a long way, but it's disappointing, I think, given what you did from January 10th to February 7th when they were one of the hottest teams out there. So, so that's going to be how it's viewed, I think. So, all right. So there's some thoughts on Kentucky and Auburn. Like we said, the Cats are at South Carolina, host Vanderbilt. Then Auburn, has that tricky. Both of these teams have tricky road games coming up at at Oklahoma on Tuesday. It's a quick turnaround for both of these two on the road against teams with nothing to lose. Keep an eye on those spots. Then they host Ole Miss next Saturday. So that's the setup there. All right. I know we got a lot of super chats. We are not going to pull all of them up, and I'm just going to tell you right now, you can leave a super chat, but if you're just going to call out other people, probably not going to get screen time, but we do appreciate the financial support here at Southeastern 16. We see a lot of regulars here. So, Josh, Quinn, I'll pull this one up. $5 super chat from Quinn to say Auburn needed it, got it, missed a ton of layups, but found a way. They layup percentage. Can we get a stat on layup percentage in the SEC the past 2 weeks? I don't think it's been great. So for anybody, I feel like everybody's missing layups out there. Let's see what else we got here. $5 super chat from 9-time champion, always a valuable player here at Southeastern 16. Yeah, they wore the custom shoes designed for the Outlive, which Bruce Pearl is always. Yep. I feel like we had Bruce on this time last year, and we spent a good time talking about Outlive. I want to say that was the game. We had him on before that one. So, yes, obviously a huge win there, always is, and, yeah, they do incredible stuff with that every single year in that game. Russell, $2 super chat, wishes Mark Pope would have stayed in medical school. There's some – Russ has got something. He got something there. Let's see. What else we got here? Oh, yeah, you remember this? 9-time champion, $5 super chat. At least we saw the end of the game. Remember last year? We never saw the end of the game because the game got knocked off the air.
Oh, my gosh.
Do you remember that? That's right.
Yes. We were like, what the heck?
Get to see that.
Oh, nuts.
I forgot all about that. That's a great pull there, 9-time champion. I forgot all about that. Wow.
Just unlocked the memory there.
Wow. I forgot all about that.
That was great.
All right. This one is mild, honestly, compared to most here that Josh will send. $2 chat. Did that game make your eyes bleed? No. If our eyes are red, Josh, probably because both of us lack sleep anytime we do these late at night on a Saturday. So there you go. All right, I'm just going to continue on here. 9-time champion. Get green names like us, Broners, Big Blue Nation. Subscribe.
There you go.
So
there you go.
yeah.
9-time.
I always appreciate that. Here we go. A little X's and O's talk from Brock.
Oh, okay, Brock.
$10 super chat. Yeah, Brock, big UK fan. Been playing a little man defense since Cal came here, and it's just not working. Play some zone, and we win some games. I mean, that's where I think, like, I don't know, Max. I'm always fascinated by the strategy, but some coaches, man, they are just like, hey, you know what? This is how we're going to play. And I mean, I feel like I don't want to say no one plays it these days, but you do, like, you know, we even on our College Hoops 2K8 game, right? It's giving us the option to throw a little 3-2, a little 2-3, 1-3-1, 1-2-2. We get all kinds of zone options. But you just don't see that anymore, right? It's much more. Some coaches just love the man-to-man and man-to-man.
Good old Jimmy Boeheim out here. Little 2-3.
I mean, if you're going to play it in a league, this is the league to play it in. Although I will say, the SEC coming into, I want to say 2 weeks ago, was like 24th or 25th in three-point percentage in league games. Now it's up to 34%. So that's 20th out of 31 conferences. So we've gone from 24, 25, 26, 27 range to 20th. That's pretty good. So you got some guys knocking down shots, but I guess that's what happened when you get like Acuff and all these guys just going off the way they have here over the past couple
9
weeks.
for 12 from Hubbard.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. That's right.
So on why they don't, I mean, the two main things are obviously it's like the letting up offensive boards.
Rebounding's a big part of that.
Rebounding. So when you're already in a tight battle there, you don't want to go ahead and give Auburn extra opportunities. But I was always fascinated by, like, okay, a team goes zone, right? And you could actually have a better take on this as having the coach experience. A team goes zone to switch it up, and maybe they get a stop for a possession or two, but then the other team makes 1-3 over the zone, one shot over the zone. And it's like, all right, scrap it. Go back to man-to-man. Well, why don't we scrap man-to-man after they make 5 threes? And why don't you have to go, like, why is it like we can go zone, they make one shot, we got to scrap the zone and go back to man-to-man? Like Syracuse won a national title running a 2-3, but the game has changed. The game has changed.
A bit, but yeah, I mean, I just don't think you see a lot of teams that can just execute it the way they used to, and it is just a different game too. Like, I think, it's just that's the way it works.
It also helps to have Carmelo Anthony on your team.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
Not a bad player to have.
So, yeah. I mean, look, Brock says, hey, the zone again does help with the rebounding a little bit. If you are a team where you're like, hey, let's do this as a combined effort versus just one guy having to block out another guy, does obviously limit 3-point attempts. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's where, I'll say this in NCAA tournament games. Sometimes that's where when you see some of these upsets like pulled off, I'm pretty sure like we're not talking 100% here where that mid-major team is playing man-to-man every possession. Right. They're usually finding ways to be a little bit more creative defensively. Not always, but sometimes they can just man up. But that's the thing, right? And so you get stuff thrown at you that just are not able to see that much throughout the season. So it is something. There you go. Like, Rusty, a little callback here. Hogs show a little man, but then you just throw a little 2-3 little trap. A little 2-3 trap. Why not? So now you guys got me talking. I'm like, it's late at night, but we're talking 2-3 trapping zones here at 10. Oh, this is incredible. Keep this going instead of whatever else is going on in the chat right now. My goodness.
It's also probably hard for like Mark Pope and the staff to try to implement multiple defenses without your lead point guard, your lead center, and your 6'8" versatile, perimeter wing and Cam Williams, kind of not the, maybe if you had the same team in practice all year, but it's been quite the rotating door for the Cats.
Yeah. All right. I'll pull this up quickly here from Luke. Luke's always throwing jabs at me here. He was like, I'm going to rank Kentucky second, he said, in the power rankings. It's not going to happen, Luke. Come on. I know what you think, but I'm not going to do it. He says, who gets fired first of these two coaches? Oh, my. There's a question. Chat, we'll let you weigh in on that. Who do you think in this one? I don't think either one of them's getting fired this year. you guys can share your thoughts. So
let's relax with the profanity here in the chat for crying out loud.
YouTube has a zero tolerance policy. If you see any of that, just bam, out of here. I can't catch up. There's too many chats tonight. We got too many super chats that I'm looking at, and I look over and we got 52 chats that I haven't even seen yet. So that's the rule, guys. You start throwing that, boom, out of here. YouTube says adios. All right. I'm just kidding. You guys calm down. It's late at night. We're about to hop off here in just a minute. Okay. David wants to know, $2 super chat, why didn't Pro go right at Oweh with 4 fouls? I don't know. I mean, sometimes it sounds good in theory, but it's also difficult sometimes just to change what you feel like you need to do offensively just to do, which, I mean, again, I understand why you're saying that, and without Oweh, like, you would think that's a pretty good advantage in your favor if you're Auburn, but I mean, it's just, sometimes it can be difficult to just make that the game plan over whatever else you're trying to do, I guess. So
I also remember, like, I'm trying to think right now, like, if I can remember multiple possessions back to back where they're just, searching them out, trying to attack them. But I remember a few plays where always the primary defender at the rim, and he kind of just let the layup go. I thought there were a few situations where Auburn did put Oweh in a position to have to, challenge at the rim, and Oweh just kind of, fading vertically backwards and, not trying to do too much to get that foul.
Yeah. I mean, we may not have said it enough, but Oweh was great too. I mean, I thought that was kind of a given, but in case we didn't say that enough, yeah, he was great. So, all right. Josh $5 super chat says, got to be long to play zone, have a little pest at the top of the zone. Yeah, you remember like back in the day, like high school basketball, I remember like these teams that are going to play zone, and they got this one guy up there that is just like a gnat, and you're thinking, I'm going to give this guy, you want to talk about a push-off, this ain't going to be one of those, is it a foul or no, like, no. if I'm going to get a good shot in on this guy, like that guy's just up there all over you, and usually like it's like a tiny guy that he's just like, he's faster than you, the speed, and it's just, man, you want no part of that. No part.
Do you remember CJ Fair with the headband?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It comes to my mind right away. Just lengthy up at the top of the zone, run, tips and run outs, big dunks, get the crowd going. We need more zone. Can we start a more zone petition here?
Are we going to be the people that bring back zone defense?
Yes.
We're going to do it on College Hoops 2K8. So if you want bonus content, you can find us there. Zach's here. Good to know this did not happen. $5 super chat here from Zach. Noted stressed out Auburn fan. So we appreciate Zach, a legend here at Southeastern 16, checking in. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to quickly give some Max. We're just going to combine these two games together. Apologies to these two fan bases, but these were favorites who won on the road, so we're just going to give you some quick thoughts because we got to get to our awards, and Max got to go to bed at some point. He's an hour ahead of all of us. Or he may be 5 hours ahead. I don't know. He may be overseas. I don't know. Alabama 90-83 at LSU. He also had A&M 75-71 at Oklahoma. Big win for A&M. I think that's probably the most important takeaway for me is that, we talked about them. They've been teetering around that spot. We mentioned earlier, I said, I think Georgia would jump them a little bit when it comes to Georgia's win today. And I forgot, like, that's actually the order that I think Lenardi had it in this week. He had Georgia into the field and had A&M still on, like, the last 4 byes or something like that. So I think that's probably still, we mentioned how close they were on Bracket Matrix, which had A&M, like, 0.6 ahead of Georgia. I don't think this does a whole lot for A&M, but at the same time, like we said, this is kind of one where you're 9-5 in the SEC now, and you've won 2 in a row after the 4-game losing streak, and now you kind of are in a position, aside from that last game at LSU, you don't have any bad loss opportunities at Arkansas, home against Texas, home against Kentucky. Everything you've got to work with over the next week or so is only going to help your resume probably. And then for Alabama, I mean, I thought we said that's kind of a tricky game just because you're at LSU. They have nothing to lose. You're coming off of a 82 overtime game on Wednesday, and you're just like, can we get enough here? And high-scoring game, Alabama gets it done. Really didn't even shoot the 3 that well, but got to the free throw line a ton in this one. So I thought those were kind of the main standouts when it comes to just those two games.
33%. That's what Oklahoma shot from the floor tonight. 33%.
And lost by
from
4.
the floor. It's not like there's a 7-footer protecting the rim for Texas A&M. I mean, Zach Clements was great. I mean, who needs a Mackenzie Mbako when you got a Zach Clements, right? That's what we all said in the preseason. Agee didn't have a block. 33% Texas A&M held Oklahoma to. That's just ridiculous. On the road, it was an ugly game. I didn't catch the entire game because there was another thriller on at the same time. But when I was watching it, every time I turn it on, Rylan Griffin's got his hand in there somewhere. Rylan Griffin he's in the play somehow. He's been kind of the unsung hero here for A&M with Ruben. Just his 3-point volume coming down a little bit. It's been Rylan Griffin that's been like the main man on the perimeter. That's been kind of the catalyst of this A&M offense here.
Yeah, and I mean they're just that's the thing, right? People were going to overreact no matter what when A&M started losing games because everybody's like, well, they shouldn't have been here. They were 17-4, fraud, all the other word, right? But like we said, I mean, if you really looked at it, there just was not a lot that you necessarily were just going to all of a sudden say this is a bad team because, again, lost by 3 at Alabama. They lost at home by 19 to Florida, who was just taking it to anybody and everybody for the most part. You lose a game by a point at home to Missouri, and then you lose at Vanderbilt. So I'm just like, that's a tough 4-game stretch for anybody, but it just happened to be the team that everybody was like, all right, now we can finally lean in on. It's a bad team. I don't think it's a bad team. And I think this is going to be a team that, is still matchup-wise. I know Josh is bringing it up in the chat. Like, we talk about matchups so much. This is still a team in the right matchup. Like, this can be a Sweet 16 type team with the way they play. And I'm not saying that a win in Oklahoma is all of a sudden going to make them a Final Four contender, but I do like the way they bounce back here. They've kind of evened it out a little bit. And like we said, I think these next 3 games really give you a great opportunity to kind of reestablish your confidence a little bit against the top-tier teams. And if you lose all 3 of these, well, then maybe it is just like, all right, well, there'll be an 8, 9, 10, whatever, and probably out in the first round. But I'm not sure. I don't think they're going to lose all 3 of these games. So, yeah, curious to see what happens with A&M. And, yeah, just again, I mean, on the Alabama front, keep in mind, guys, we kind of hinted at this after the Florida game. As bad as it was, there was still the Bediako questions and all that. But I remember saying, man, I'm like, I think they're going to be 9-4. And I don't even know if I look beyond that. I was like, just looking at the next 5 games, I'm like, I forgot they go to LSU after that. And then they host Mississippi State. So, I mean, there's no reason Alabama shouldn't be on a 7-game winning streak after Wednesday, since they host Mississippi State. So, I mean, that's not what you want. You don't want a confident Alabama team heading into tournament time based on what we've seen from this team in recent years. They always find a way, and tough schedule the rest of the way. You got to go to Tennessee at Georgia, get the home game against Auburn, but I think Alabama's figuring some things out here.
Yeah, real quick on A&M, they were in the middle of the pack of the 10 seed line on Bracket Matrix. So a win there, you're probably not jumping up to the 9, but what you're definitely doing is avoiding the 11, which is huge because, like you mentioned with their upcoming schedule, if you were to lose this and then maybe stumble on the last few, that could be you just played yourself right out. So now just avoid that 11 line. Nice little bit of margin for error there before the game. They had a 91% chance at an at-large. So big time for the league and A&M there. Try to get another team in the tournament. As for Alabama.
Hold on one second. Let me push back on this a little bit. So Joshua says here, I don't think the majority of us thought that A&M was a bad team, but for a minute, y'all had them as 1 or 2 in the power rankings and were talking as if they were a great team, which they aren't. Correct. They're not a great team now. But power rankings aren't projections. They are simply looking at where teams are at that point. So when Texas A&M was at the top, And sitting there with such a impressive body of work to that point, and you're comparing them against other teams, and they're 17-4 and 6-1 in the SEC. I mean, we're not projecting what they're going to do the next 4 games. So, absolutely, like they're not a great team right now. But at the time, you're comparing against other teams, and well, again, if anyone else had been sitting there with the same record, I think everybody would have pushed back on it. So, I mean, like I don't think we ever projected that Texas A&M was going to win the SEC. If we did, let us know. But I don't think that was ever the case. But we knew they were going to kind of hit a stretch, just like we kind of said the same thing about Vanderbilt. It was going to happen at some point. And I mean, we're still talking about a team that's 9-5 and the strongest league in the country in terms of the analytics. So, I mean, that's not bad. But yeah, I mean, it was inevitable they were going to start losing some games. But they were 7-1, and their only loss was in double overtime at Tennessee. So we didn't really have a lot else to go on. So, anyways, on to Alabama.
Yes. For Alabama, how about our guy Aiden Sherrell? What a sophomore leap he's taken. He was better right away in November, and he's improved every month. And if they're able to get that he only plays 20 minutes with the 5 fouls, but he absolutely stuffed the stat sheet. If you're able to get Aiden Sherrell in these neutral court games, like kind of north of 26 minutes, kind of between 26 and 30 minutes, I love that for Alabama. I know anytime Sherrell and Nate Oates has talked about it, there's like a minutes threshold that they track with his efficiency, and kind of where the fatigue starts dropping his efficiency numbers. But he's just so much better than anyone else at the 5 for Alabama. That if you're able to combine some consistent 30-minute Aiden Sherrell performances, then with what Amari Allen does, with what London Jemison does, it really just comes down to, can this backcourt tighten up and defend like they have at sometimes? Other times the backcourt defense is not there. But if the backcourt defense can start to be consistent, Blake, you match that with the emergence of Sherrell here in February, and look at that, 6 in a row.
Yeah, I mean he's been a big part of it, no question. And I think, like, again, you can say whatever you want about Alabama, but dude, 100, 96, 93, 89, 117, 90, like, they're just gonna outscore you sometimes.
Yep.
Just gonna outscore you. Yeah, they gave up 97. They gave up 92. They gave up 115. They gave up 83. They won all those games. So we can sit here and pick on Alabama about their defense if anyone wants to, but who else here would love to be 6-0 in their last 6 games? So, I mean, that's the thing. So, I mean, we can play this game. So, yeah. But anyways.
And unless it's a team that has a very imposing front court with depth in the front court, which is not too many teams out there right now, like, you're talking Arizona, Michigan, Duke, and Florida, really, that are like you're on a neutral court where it's just like, okay, they're going to be able to keep up with Alabama's scoring, and they're probably just going to dominate the rebounding. Other than a team that can do that profile of a team, it's going to be tough to not advance Alabama in your bracket, at least a few rounds.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see what kind of matchup they get and where they wind up seed-wise. I think I'd be shocked if they're not 4 or 5.
Gotta be.
I don't think they're getting higher than a 4. We keep talking about it, and everybody's like, well, what happens if we do this or that? I'm like, the guys, it really isn't. I don't even think it's a matter of the SEC. I think it's really, I don't see how some of these teams that are in those first 3 seed lines fall down at this point. I just don't know how many spots that are available. And if we're projecting that Florida's not really going to fall, then it's like, well, the SEC's taking one of those. And I don't know. Alabama will be interesting to look at, though, because they do still have some good opportunities here to pick up some nice wins at Tennessee and Georgia. But, again, at Tennessee will be tough just based on the Vols having their number and, the home win against Auburn. We'll see where the Tigers are at that point. But, yeah, Alabama, people can say what they want. They've won 6 in a row. You want to knock that? Yeah, maybe come back with what your favorite team's record is, because they've been really good over the past 6 games. So, all right. Let's quickly tell you about our friends. Shout out to Joshua. Hey, we appreciate you watching the channel. Appreciate the support of the channel. Hey, we always are up for some good debate here. All right? We've been talking about zone defense, little power rankings debate. We appreciate it. Again, keep it coming, guys. Well, people like Josh. Okay?
You can tell it's Farch.
It is Farch. Start to get into the nonsense, then we have a zero tolerance policy here for nonsense. I'll tell you who else has a zero tolerance policy for nonsense. That's our friends at AndCollar. AndCollar.com. Head over there, SEC16, 16% off. You got nothing else to do tonight? You're sitting around watching us? What the hell are you doing? Head over to AndCollar. AndCollar.com. Remember, performance menswear brand. You could be sitting there right now watching this show in a suit. We're not talking about your birthday suit there, folks. Get some clothes on. Quarter zips, polos, pants. Put some pants on. Little button-ups. Got it all. Watch Southeastern 16 in style. All right? Watch the show in style. Head over there, SEC16, 16% off over at AndCollar. And our friends at ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com, the world's strongest magnetic phone case. Extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting. The only rock lock of the night is that anytime Kentucky plays a basketball game, the chat's going to get a little feisty one way or the other, whether it's Kentucky fans or people who are not Kentucky fans. Seems like that's just how it goes here, Southeastern 16.
Yep.
But if you want 25% off over at ROKFORM, SEC25, 25% off over at ROKFORM. Great cases, accessories, all that good stuff. And Icon Wallets. Icon Wallets. What a group that is. Officially licensed collegiate wallets. Head over there. Premium Napa leather, all this good stuff. You want money in your pocket. And by the way, Luke's telling me here a minute ago that we were thinking about taking Mississippi State to win the SEC on FanDuel after 2 games. Now, wait just a minute here. I'm not going to take that slander. But if we were, then you could pull out the Icon wallets and you can take the money right out of our pocket and just throw it into the water somewhere, because that ain't happening. So, if we were considering that, Luke, I need you to pull the clip on that. But if we were considering that, then all you got to do, reach into your Icon wallets and say, here you go. This is the money that Blake and Max lost me right here. Let me just hand it over, and it's yours. So that's all I got to say about that. But yeah, you get 20% off. SEC16, 20% off over at Icon Wallets. All right. Saturday awards. Here we go.
The party? Is it too late to join the party? Is everybody else got Mississippi State to win the league? Am I the only one left out?
Now, you know what we probably did do? We of course we probably said, you know what, if you want some value, Mississippi State plus 30,000 over at FanDuel. Head over there and grab it right now. So,
turn $1 into your mortgage.
We probably would have said that. Let me tell you where the value's at right now at FanDuel for the SEC winner. There is none, because Florida it's not even been updated, but please don't even think about it. Like, don't even think about betting on the SEC conference winner. Just don't do it.
No.
So, unless you think Florida's losing to Arkansas and Kentucky, then it's worth a look.
Then you got
something. But I don't know. So, all right. Saturday awards. Get going, Max. We got to get you to bed here soon.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Should we start at the top or the bottom? Last week we started at the bottom.
Hold on quickly so I don't forget this. $5 super chat from Josh. How come Michigan Duke play a slugfest and it's good basketball, but Tennessee plays those games? We are physical and play football. The hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Well, we got that one wrong. We got both the national games wrong today. But we also both picked the favorites, and the favorites lost both games. So, by the way, I got some thoughts on Michigan. Not tonight. I'll save for power rankings. I got some thoughts on Michigan going out of that game. All right. Let's go. Start. We're going to build up to the best ones. So start with the ones that I'm not going to have awards for. You know I'm not.
So. All right. I'm running through them quick because at this point I was doing like the don't forget these performances and losses to try to like talk about guys that might be having good SEC seasons down the road.
Don't do
Just
that.
5 guys that had good games were Quincy Ballard, Pablo Tamba, Mark Mitchell had a huge game. Malik Dia had a huge game, and then Mo Agee had a double-double. So Tamba, Agee, and Ballard with nice double-doubles there, and then Mark Mitchell and Dia both put up 20-plus and stuffed the stat sheet. Teams did not grab the win, though. My bully ball stat line of the day, we might have the best of the year, folks. We might have the best of the year, folks. Nope, right. This one's the best one, I think.
All right.
Mr. Rob Miller puts on his uniform today and goes, I'm ready to be a bully. I'm ready to go out there and play 9 minutes.
Looked in the mirror.
Yeah, he called me. He said, Max, I'm getting ready to be a bully. 9 minutes, no points, no field goal attempts. We're not out there to score the basketball, guys. No. We're out there to grab 3 rebounds, a steal, 3 blocks, and 5 fouls in 9 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So he wasn't even one of those just came in, get some fouls. He's like, no, I want to do everything, but I don't need to take a shot because that's not my role on the team. That's what you're looking for. Okay.
Rebounds, steals, blocks, and then foul out before your minutes total reaches double digits. That's what we're all about here.
That's usually pretty good.
At Bully Ball headquarters. Yeah. Robert Miller, have yourself a day. Rock Lock Reliable Player of the Day. Billy Goat. Billy Goat's running around out there. 35 minutes, 21 points, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Billy Goat doing Billy Goat things. I mean, what else do you need me to say? Probably the most reliable player in the country. Did we have a Billy Goat shout out? Nice.
Oh, there's Billy Goat's been in the chat more than the profanity tonight. That's how you know. It's really amped up. Yeah.
Our guy. Icon shooter of the day, my guy, Clapjar. Urban goes 4 of 5 from 3, and just a sniper of a day. Doesn't even need to take that many. Just get me the rock flying off a screen, and I'll bury it. Clapjar, what an icon shooter of the day. Defensive player of the day. This was a rare defensive player of the day that came from a losing team, but the game was gritty, hard fought, low scoring, and full of good defense. Jalen Washington with 26 minutes, 6 blocks against the Tennessee front court, 6 defensive rebounds as well, was a huge part of keeping that rebound margin just from getting too wide there. Jalen Washington, 26 minutes, a steal, 6 blocks, 6 defensive rebounds. Didn't win the game, but he was the most impressive defensive stat line there of the day for me. Freshman of the day. This one was interesting. We had 2 guys that I really wanted to give it to. We had Amari Allen put up a 16 and 6 points and rebounds line with an assist and a turnover, but I'm going to give it to shocker. Darius Acuff goes out there for 20 points, 11 of 13 from the free throw line, 5 assists, no turnovers, and a steal, and just a quiet night for Darius Acuff, dropping a near perfect offensive performance. Ridiculous.
I mean, quiet night. Guy goes for 20. There's a quiet.
Guy goes for 20, doesn't turn the ball over. Okay. Thanks, Darius. Setting a real low standard here for freshman of the day. So Acuff there with freshman of the day. Team of the day.
Oh, okay. Here we go. I got to have one of these. All right.
Team of the day.
Ooh.
This one is probably the hardest one of the day. I've got 3 teams.
I don't think so.
I've got 3 teams listed for this. And I think I know who I'm going to go with. I had Tennessee going on the road and grabbing a huge win there. Big, probably jump a seed line there, but I'm not going to give it to them. I had Georgia saving their season, but I'm not going to go there. It's got to be Auburn with their season. I was going to give it to Georgia or Auburn. Both of them had probably their March Madness hopes on the line tonight. I thought Auburn, maybe a little bit bigger of a game, beating the Cats, taking nothing away from Texas, but just come on, primetime game, bright lights, came down to the last possession. I'm going to go Auburn, team of the day.
I'm going to pick Tennessee, but you know what? We're really taking Florida for granted here. They just went on the road and won by 19, and now, if you look at what they've done, it's just ho-hum, Florida goes on the road, wins by 19, the best team in the SEC.
Yeah.
if you look at just think about this. Here's our last 4 road games in SEC play. Won by 43, 19, 20, and 19. I mean, come on. The Gators.
We're spoiled.
I'll pick Tennessee, though. I thought that was the most impressive win. So I'll go Tennessee.
Most impressive. Huge win there for Tennessee. But man, it was a tense day in the SEC. There was a lot on the line. There was a lot on the line.
Brian's trying to throw in a new award here. Blown call of the day. I'm not touching that one.
Definitely nothing in the Kentucky Auburn game. I thought.
Of course not. Oh, boy.
Come on. All right, and then player of the day. This one might surprise some folks. I don't think he's won my player of the day award yet. But he had a big time game and had a stat in probably every category you could. Alex Condon plays 30 minutes, goes for 24, 4, 6. That's points, rebounds, assists. Only 1 turnover with the ball in his hands that much, a steal and a block. It was about as clean as a big man game as I've seen.
All right, so I was going to pick Condon, but I don't want to do the sweep. So I'll give it to Murph. All right.
Okay.
Because, I mean, again, everybody can talk about, all that. But if we're just talking about individual performances, what this is right here, like this guy goes for 25, 10, 8 offensive rebounds, 2 blocks in 24 minutes. Made all his free throws for a team that had to have a win. So I want to go Murph. I think and again, he's not won it this year, I'm sure. So I'll give him an award.
Yeah. How about Condon and Murph? What a day.
The big guys flexing on a Saturday in SEC basketball.
Stop talking about all these other bigs. We're still here.
Okay, so I'm seeing this stuff, and I appreciate 9-time champion keeping us updated, but things have apparently gotten out of control here when it comes to all right, so hold on. 9-time champion says Pope blamed the refs in the post-game presser, said the league office could come find him, said UK got cheated out of a win. Now, hang on. Very demonstrative per the UK media. Now, let me make sure here, all right?
Wow.
We haven't seen it, guys, so people are asking us what we think about it. So I'm going to go to Twitter. You're going to get some mixed reaction, I'm sure. So let me figure out exactly what he said. So here's from Phil to 68. All right, hold on. Let me listen to this. Give me 10 seconds to listen to this, and I'll give you.
Interesting. It was an intense game.
Do we want to play this? Can we play this? It's from the field of 68. So can we pull this up here?
Can we?
All right. Hold on.
What do we got here?
I don't know how hold on. Let me see if I can figure this out. So we will just share this, okay, and see if we can make this work. I don't know if we can, but we're going to give it a shot. All right. So this is from the field of 68 on Twitter. So this is apparently a clip here. I want to make sure I pulled a reputable clip. So, all right. You good at that? All right, let's see if we can make this work. You ready?
Okay.
Those motherfuckers try to find shit in school. They did not say a word about how they cheated us.
Once again.
Those motherfuckers try to find shit in school. They did not say a word about how they cheated us.
Well, that was pretty straightforward.
Nope.
So, all right. There you have it. So, okay. I'll be honest, I was not expecting that. But, that's apparently what happened. So.
Wow. I don't know. That's, okay. Hey, okay. It's a tense moment,
It's one of those where you've got to think that people got their recorders going there, and somebody's going to capture that. But
that's a Mitch. I'm going to talk loud enough so the recording hears me right now. Yeah.
That's something. Well, that's interesting. So, all right. Well, there you have it. Mark Pope's thoughts on this matchup there. So, trying to see if there's anything else. Yeah, apparently that was just the sentiment that Mark Pope was not happy. So,
I would find it hard to believe to expect a coach after a 1-point loss in a huge game on February 21st, where you had a chance to win, to just have a normal, calm press conference. I'm going to give Mark Pope a little leeway here.
So Dylan's bringing up, and this is where I'm starting to find more of these. So let me, again, we're doing a live reaction here. We can't actually see everything as it unfolds, but here we go. So this is from the next round. So they just put this quote up from Mark Pope. Quote, "We don't make excuses. We don't do that. Regardless of how disgraceful things are, we don't give away our power. Regardless of how embarrassing, personal, awful, unacceptable things are, my goodness, we refuse to give away our power." So there's the quote from Mark Pope. So,
well, you did give the ball away 14 times. A lot of them were in the second half.
Here, let's just play this. This is from Auburn Athletics. We're going to play this from the next round here. Do you want to hear his response to this?
Sure.
This deal? All right. Hold on. Let me try to get this set up. Yeah, we may have a couple things in the chat we can get to, if you don't mind, while I figure this out again.
Thought there was, of course it was a controversial call, but one possession doesn't, you got to put yourself in position to win the game.
All right. Let's see if I can get this to work. Okay. So this is from the next round live on Twitter via, it looks like Auburn Athletics up there in the top corner. You can see it outside of our logo. All right.
Mark, I know you can't talk about officials, but your players saw the play. What do you say to them in the locker room about a situation like this?
Well, we refuse to give control to people that
He's
are outside
pissed.
of our program. Refuse. Regardless of how personal it might get or how bad it might get, we refuse to give control to fans, to give control to anybody else associated with this game. Regardless of how blatantly people are trying to make this not happen, we refuse to give them their power. That's what I talked about. We have 48 hours to turn this around. We got a massive game at South Carolina. We're going to go find a way to win it because that's what we do. So we're not giving away our power. We're not. We don't make excuses. We don't do that. Regardless of what is happening, regardless of how disgraceful things are, we don't give away our power. Regardless of how embarrassing, personal, awful, unacceptable things are, we refuse to give away our power.
Mark.
All right. Can I give you an opinion on this? If I'm a Kentucky fan, I am obviously not happy with how the game played out. But I'll take that right there.
You will.
Give me a coach that's fired up and ready to just lose his mind over what just happened to his team, whether you agree with him or not. I'm sure many opposing fans don't. Auburn fans don't. But no matter what, give me that over the, just wasn't our night out there. And
True.
I know we had a rough start to the season, but hey, we're going to go get some juice boxes. And we'll probably share some popcorn on the way home. You don't want to hear that in February. So that's what you want to hear from your coach. So I'll take that if I'm a Kentucky fan.
You will.
Absolutely. So,
especially after how the press conferences and everything was coming off early in the year. You want to see some fire, Yeah,
at least give me something.
Yeah.
Like you said, that there's a big contrast in that versus what you saw early in the season.
Right.
So,
right.
And he should be pissed. That's like we said. Say what you want. There is going to be some controversy around the call. So,
do we have a replay of the call?
They showed it a couple times, but I don't know. Rusty's like some orange slices and juice boxes sound pretty good right about now. I don't disagree, but what we're shooting for. So, all right.
I mean, I didn't think it was. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. He extends his arms. Maybe it's a flop, and he's trying to draw the foul. But like, I mean,
here's the argument. Okay, how many times do we see that throughout the course of a game when a guy's getting guarded in that scenario?
Yeah,
like
true, but
and that's the thing. And I know, right? But there is a but of like, well, do you call it? Do you not call it? The thought is, well, you don't call it because at that point in the game, and if you've seen it the entire game and not called it, well, then it's so. I get it. Like, but my bigger point here is that I think if you're Mark Pope and you're a Kentucky fan, if you're just coming out saying, yeah, well, we lost after again,
you like
you know what I mean? Like that's you can't do that. So, anyways, all right, we're out of here. We were gonna go half hour. We went an hour. You know what? It's almost March. This is what happens. So
come on.
It is what it is. All right, on the way out here, Tyler's super chat, $5 super chat. We appreciate it. It's Florida's league now. So Tyler says the Gators have taken over. I mean, listen, you're not wrong about Florida taking over the league. Not just Kentucky. When it comes to the comparison there, anybody else, Florida's taken over here in recent seasons. 9-time champion, $5 super chat. Auburn back-to-back regular season wins for Kentucky, first time since 1975. I mean, I can see that, to be honest with you. But, yeah, I mean, it's hard for anybody to have that kind of success against the Cats. But, yeah, so there you go. All right, we're out of here. We appreciate you guys. Fun show. And, yeah, lots to discuss and all that as we head into power rankings on Monday. And then the week after this, that coming week, March. Farch. It's here.
Yes.
It's here, folks. All right. We appreciate you guys. Hit the like button on your way out. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on your notification. You know we go live. Become a member. All that good stuff. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon here at Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel.